how to do it. So if we look at an example of something that we already know how to do, let's look at the problem in yellow. You know how to do x plus 7 equals 10. You remember that? We want to get x by itself, so we have to do the opposite of plus 7, which is minus 7. 7 minus 7, that cancels out, and it leaves you with just x down here equals, and if you do minus 7 on this side, remember you have to do minus 7 over here too. 10 minus 7 is 3, so then x would equal 3. Easy, right? Now you do the same thing over here. This says x plus 7 is greater than or equal to 10. So just make believe this was an equals, and that's still going to be here, greater than or equal to. And you do the same thing. This says x plus 7, so we do the opposite of plus 7, which is minus 7, and those cancel out. And then you have to do minus 7 here too. 10 minus 7 is 3. The x just comes down, so now you have x is greater than or equal to 3. Great. Now we have to graph it. This is what we did last time. You were so good at it. We're going to put a big circle around 3. And because it's greater than or equal to 3, we color it in. And our little arrow is showing greater than, which means everything that's bigger than 3. So our arrow is going to go this way, which is the same way this little arrow is going. Got it? Cool. Let's try one more like this. Now this one says y minus 3 is less than 5. So same thing. This says minus 3. What's the opposite of minus 3? Well, it's plus 3, right? Plus 3. So the 3's cancel out, and you just have a y here. The less than comes down, just like the equals used to come down. And if we did plus 3 over here, we have to do plus 3 here. 5 plus 3 is 8. So our answer is y is less than 8. And to graph that, we come to over here to 8, kind of big circle around it. And because it is less than, not less than or equal to, we leave the circle open. We don't color it in. And we just draw our little line going this way with an arrow at the end. And this says y is less than 8. Easy, right? I think so. Okay, so now let's try some problems from the book. This is page 636 at the bottom of the page. And the problem here, letter A, is n plus 2 is less than or equal to 5. So what is n equal? So again, you're going to make believe that was an equal sign. You know, you solve it in the same way. So you try letter A and go. All right, so what you should have done is, this is plus 2, so we want the opposite, which is minus 2 there. Those cancel out, and we're left with just n. And then if you do minus 2 on that side, you have to do minus 2 here. So you have 5 and minus 2 is going to be 3. Instead of an equals, this sign just comes straight down, so it's going to be less than or equal to 3. So your answer should be n is less than or equal to 3. Now we're going to graph it. So the graph, it's less than or equal to 3. So I'm going to circle the 3 here. And because it's less than or equal, I color it in. And less than goes this way. All right, now you try letter B. Y minus 3 is greater than 9. On your mark, get set, go. All right, so what we should have is, this is y minus 3. We want the opposite of that. So instead of minus 3, I'm going to do plus 3. The 3's cancel out and the y's come down. The y comes down. And then with the greater than, it just comes down 2. And remember, we did plus 3 on that side. That means we have to do plus 3 here. 9 plus 3 is 12. So now I have to show y is greater than 12. So I circle the 12. And because my arrow is pointing to the right, this is going to go to the right. I do not color in the circle because it's greater than 12, not greater than or equal to. Easy, right? Let's try a couple with multiplication. Okay, so now let's look at problems that have multiplication and division. Now, again, you've done this before when they had equal signs. It's really not any different when you have an inequality sign. So this first one says 5x is less than or equal to 45. So make believe this was an equal sign. If it was 5x equals 45, that would be easy. It's the same thing. So what you want to do is get x by itself. So this is x times 5. So now we're going to do divide by 5. And the 5's cancel out, and we just have an x here. This stays the same, less than or equal to. And if we divide it by 5 on this side, we have to divide by 5 on this side. 45 divided by 5 is 9. So now our answer is x is less than or equal to 9. Okay, so now let's graph it. I come over here to 9. I'm going to put a big circle around it. That's less than, but because it's less than or equal to, I color in the circle and I draw my line going less than, which is like that. And again, see this arrow is pointing to the left. That's why this arrow goes to the left. These are all the numbers that are less than or equal to 9. Easy, right? Okay, let's try this one. This is x over 2 or x divided by 2 is greater than 3. So what's the opposite of x divided by 2? It would be x times 2, right? So I'm going to put in parentheses times 2. And so that means these 2's cancel out and we just have x. If I do times 2 on that side, I have to do times 2 on this side. 3 times 2 is 6. This greater than sign still says greater than. So here's our answer, x is greater than 6. So I come over to 6, put a circle around it, and this is greater than, it's not greater than or equal to us, so I leave this as an open circle, and I'm going to draw the arrow this direction, because these are all the numbers that are greater or bigger than 6, and also it's the same direction that this arrow is pointing. Easy, right? I think so. Okay, so now we're at the bottom of page 637, and let's try letter C down here. 10x is greater than 80, right? So remember, this is 10 times x, or x times 10, and you want to see what is x equal to, or what is x less than. Ready, go. All right, so we make believe it's still an equation, even though it has a less than. You solve it in the same way. So this is x times 10. So now I want to do x divided by 10, and that cancels out the 10s, and I just have an x. If I did divide by 10 on this side, I have to divide by 10 here. 80 divided by 10, that's just 8. And because this is a less than sign, that just comes straight down. So you have x less than 8. To graph it, you're going to do a circle around 8. And draw the arrow to the left. Easy peasy. All right, now you guys try letter D. On your mark, get set, go. All right, so this says x divided by 6 is greater than or equal to 7. What's the opposite of divide by 6? Times 6. So I'm going to put that just in parentheses. 6 here, and that cancels the 6's, and I just have an x. And greater than or equal to stays the same. And now remember I did times 6 there, so I have to do times 6 on this side. 7 times 6 is 42. Now let me ask you this. I'm going to draw a circle around 42. Should I color in the circle? What do you think? Right, because it's greater than or equal to, I color in the circle, and everything that's greater than or equal to 42, my arrow goes that way. All right, awesome. All right, now we're on page 638. We're just gonna do a couple problems from guided practice. So let's try number 1. H minus 6 is greater than or equal to 13. Ready, go. All right, so this is minus 6, and we want to do the opposite of that. So that's plus 6, and that cancels out the 6's. But then you have to do plus 6 here. 13 plus 6 is 19. And so the H comes down, and the greater than or equal to comes down, greater than or equal to. So you should have H is greater than or equal to 19. I'm going to just move that down so we have room there. H greater than or equal to 19. So now, here's what we're going to do. Okay, so now for the second part of this, we have to graph it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to graph it, and you're going to have to tell me if I did it right or I did it wrong. So let's see. I see a 19, so I'm going to graph the 19, and the arrow is pointing to the right, so I'm going to go to the right. Okay, is this graph correct or incorrect? Right, this graph was incorrect because I should have colored it in because it's greater than or equal to, that means I color it in. All right, let's try number 2. 5y is greater than 30. I'm just going to write it over here so I have more space. 5y is greater than 30. So you guys solve it and tell me what y equals. Ready, go. All right, so you should have, we know this is y times 5, so now I do y divide by 5, and that cancels those out, and the y comes down. If I do divide by 5 here, I have to do divide by 5 here. 30 divided by 5 is 6, and the greater than just comes down. So you should have y is greater than 6. All right, so now let's see if we can graph it. All right, so I'm going to graph it, and you have to tell me if I did it correctly. So what I need to graph is y is greater than 6. Let's see, put a circle around the 6. Okay, is that correct or it's incorrect? Right, so that was incorrect because I drew my arrow the wrong way. This is y greater than 6, and these numbers are all less than 6. So what I should have done instead is draw my arrow going that way. The circle is right because it is greater, so it's an open circle. It's not filled in. All right, good job, everybody. Boom.